Hello everyone, my name is William Hatcher and this is my student case study for Module 8. Today I'm going to be talking about a student. We'll call him Yang. He is 9 years old, he's in 3rd grade. So I wanted to give you a little background of him and the school first. I have been teaching him for 3 years now. And he is a student in our bilingual department. Overall, his personality, he's pretty shy, a little quirky, and usually always in a good mood, regardless of how he performs at school. A little background about our school. I do teach in the bilingual department. Our schedule, so currently we are online right now, but before, when we were in person, we have 4 English classes a day with the students for 35 minutes. And now that we're online, we have 3 periods a day for 40 minutes. The class is on average about 30 students, and in each of the classrooms there is 1 Chinese and 1 foreign homeroom teacher who work together to teach and also kind of facilitate the day-to-day. The classes that the students have are English, Chinese, math, PE, art, and music. So let me give you a little information about Yang. His family, comes from a divorced household, and he lives with his mother, who says, and I know is not very strong in English, so sometimes she says that she doesn't know how to help. He doesn't have any siblings, so he is an only child. His performance overall, he has pretty low grades in all of the subject classes. He really struggles with following along during lessons, and many of the teachers just get frustrated easily with him because he doesn't know how to answer questions and he doesn't follow along very well. But this is not just a problem in my English classes, but he can't really comprehend simple instructions in Chinese as well. Whether there's some independent activity they have to work on, he doesn't seem to understand what to do. So I'm going to go over my observations. And as I said, I've been with him for 3 years, so here's kind of grade by grade how I observed him. In 1st grade, I noticed right away he was very developmentally behind. He could barely hold a pencil. He did not know how to write his letters or write even Chinese as well. And he did not know any of the letter sounds or recognize their names. Because of this, the teachers usually put him in the back of the room. This is a pretty common thing in a lot of classrooms where maybe some of the higher performing students will be in the front. He had few friends, but it didn't seem to bother him. He's usually happy at school. And what I noticed is that he started gravitating with a lot of the other students who were kind of probably somewhere on the spectrum or special needs, which I found interesting. In 2nd grade, I definitely noticed he was squinting a lot when he was looking at the board or an activity, which is a note that we made to the mom that you'll see later on. So we definitely tried different positions around the room to see what would work best. And his friend circle didn't really improve, and not much improvement in handwriting or spelling. Now we're on to 3rd grade. He still has very poor fine motor skills in writing, in cutting, in coloring, and even just basic clothing and taking care of himself. He really has a trouble in differentiating between independent work time and class time. So sometimes you really need to tell him very, very, very specifically, please start. He finishes a lot of the assignments and tasks with guidance, but usually is incorrect and usually very, very rushed. So here are some of the work examples. Setting up the notebook is kind of a skill I started them in 1st grade to teach them how to set up their notebooks each and every time. I tell them name, date, fold your paper in half in order to keep it organized if you're making columns, and skip lines in between sentences. This is an example of his on the left and another student on the right. He consistently forgets to set up his notebook in any way, even with reminders every week for the past 3 years. Here is an art project that we did in class for the Day of the Dead. You can see that on the right, the student is coloring neatly, a little more details, and his is on the left. He colors and draws very quickly, which leads him to erase things a lot and rarely stays within the lines. Another big example where I see this is when we do the science notebooks, which involve a lot of cutting and organizing and gluing. 9 times out of 10, he will mess this up, even with the teacher showing step by step how to do it and with their friends helping them out as well. This is his homework. Usually, or all of these are incorrect. You can see a lot of erasing and a lot of switching around, but they're still incorrect. And typically we do go over what all the words mean at the beginning of the week so that there is kind of this help in finding the definitions. Quickly, here are some examples of his grades. I just pulled up spelling, ESL tests, and a reading. So spelling, it's very inconsistent, but you can see his are quite low and the class average is quite high. The ESL tests we have been doing this year, he is way below the average. With reading, he is reading at a first grade level, and the instructional reading levels are at a preschool level compared to the class average of second grade and kind of close to second grade for instructionals. What I've tried, obviously we talked about the eyes. He did get glasses, and that I think helped a bit. Seating, we've tried a lot. One-on-one lessons, review the content from previous weeks or even previous years. Pairing him with students, other students will help him with activities and translations. Providing translations, working closely with the Chinese and math teachers, and also meeting with his mom. Now, what should I do next is what I'm kind of hoping you guys can help me out with next. I have worked at a school with an OT, and I know that he needs to see a similar specialist. He has very hard time tracking and visualizing things, and his overall fine motor development is very, very low for a third grade level. But I'm open to some other suggestions, and I'm looking forward to hearing you guys on Sunday morning. Thanks.